This is a change of events, isn't it? It is. It is crazy. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, as you can see, I'm not alone making this video and name reveal up here. Finally, I want to introduce you guys first of all to my son, Brian David. Tomorrow will be a month that I'm filming this. I don't know when this is going to get posted because clearly we are contact napping. We've been contact napping for a few days now, and we have been like on and off the entire month. So there's that. Also, please excuse if you hear my husband. He's playing video games. If my son randomly cries, he's dreaming. Welcome back. I don't know how consistent I'm going to be with videos right now, considering he is still a newborn and we've been through it. If you haven't followed me on TikTok, then you may not already know I did a couple little postpartum updates over there, roughly. If you haven't seen those, then get ready. we're going for a ride. Hi, I had a baby. And wow, I think the first thing I just gotta say is the transition. I really underestimated that. The transition from not having a child to having a child is intense. That's really mostly what I'm just gonna say. His birth is very traumatic for me, so I'm gonna try to tread lightly in this video because it's still, I mean, I'm not gonna say it triggers me now. Obviously still does. It's still fresh. Like, it's just been about a month now, and I apologize if I stumble over my words a lot. I'm exhausted. And so is my husband. We got this beautiful little boy, and I am so blessed to have him. I love him so much. I don't even really know where to start with this. We're just crazy. Go through what I've been going through. Since Brian's birth, since having a very traumatic birth and ended up being basically emergency C-section, I have had a hard time with everything. The hormones have been hormoning is the best way I could describe it. I am still dealing with hormonal changes now, obviously, and probably will for a long time. And also, I'm the trigger warning for anyone out there because I feel like everyone's birth experience is different. I had, just like I mentioned years ago, when I used to have expectations for certain ages in my life, at 16 I'll do this, at 20 I'll do this, you get it. I had high expectations for my birth. I really was expecting to have him vaginally. I was expecting for it to be that experience where they put him on my chest and skin to skin and I'm crying and oh my god. When all that didn't happen, that definitely has played a role in affecting me. Now we are slowly starting to get over that hurdle. Don't want to scare any moms out there or soon to be first time moms, but for me personally, I've just had a very hard time with postpartum depression and anxiety. It has not been that great. I feel like it has really affected how I've been bonding with my son, although we're bonding now and everything's fine. But you know, at first it was just like shock. Honestly, pure and utter shock when I had him, probably from the entire situation. And if things were different, then maybe it wouldn't have been as much of a shock. But wow. Just wow. That's all I really can say about it. And I don't mean to scare future mothers out there. I wish someone had warned me wholeheartedly and was like, look, you're gonna be going through this, this, and this. And of course they say that to you, but you don't really, you know, it doesn't really hit, you know, like it should. Yeah, okay, whatever. You know, I was just so done being pregnant at that point. Postpartum has been very difficult for me so far. You guys want to hear the whole story as well as an update, more so an update on me and of course on Brian, then just keep watching. Let's just jump in. I'm just like all over the place here. My birth story starts back the end of June. I made some videos and I was like, guys, this might be the last videos I make until my son comes, And sure enough, what ended up happening the last week of June, I started to have, I think the Wednesday of that week, have contractions. What I believe to be contractions, and they were on and off. Sometimes they were consistent, sometimes they weren't. It was very up and down whether they were real or not. So I stayed home from work that Wednesday, and then Thursday they kind of continued. They were on and off, same situations. I was supposed to have an NST test that day, so I ended up calling and saying, hey, I think I'm having contractions, which now I'm gonna pass this message along to moms out there. Don't do that. Don't tell them you're having contractions, because I ended up having to go to labor and delivery to have my NST test for him, and they kept me there for a few hours after that, and I was really pissed off about that. I don't recommend you do that. Just don't do that unless you know you're having consistent contractions that are 5 minutes apart or whatever, 3 minutes, whatever it's supposed to be, or your water breaks. Just don't tell them that if you are having a C-test. He sleeps just like his dad. That ended up happening, and then Friday I just ended up staying home from work anyways because I was just in a lot of pain, like pelvic pain, and I just was like over the whole entire situation from the last couple days. Also, summer school had just started for my job. If you guys have already heard me talk about that, being a para, working summer school, I really didn't want to do it. Luckily, I only worked 2 days of it. Then that Friday, I think it was that Friday actually, I believe, that I got a phone call from my OB's office. My doctor wanted to have me induce that Sunday night, upcoming June 30th. And I was like, oh my God, like I was so excited. It was so real. I was just like, oh my God, so excited. Going for the induction. And at first, you know, okay, whatever, like I'm having contractions. They are painful AF. Like more than a period. Braving through it, it was fine. I can't really remember a lot of the stuff that happened, so I apologize if this is like a little like everywhere in my brain. It's just right now. So I was having consistent contractions. Monday, they just wanted me to try and progress. I was given Pitocin, which is again something I didn't want to necessarily do, but ended up happening. I also ended up having a pill that I had to dissolve in my cheeks in order to start contractions. I really thought I was going to have them within 24 hours. I thought, just like Sam, you thought. I think I was like 3 centimeters when they checked me. Again, I've had a hard time with anybody being down there. And I don't want to like go into too much detail about that because I am someone that has, you know, had things happen down there by somebody in the past. That's all I'm going to say. So having my cervix checked, having anyone in there was the worst possible thing. Oh. I think one of the worst things to happen to me. I ended up getting the epidural Monday, and they just had it on like a constant drip for the amount of time that I was before I had the C-section. Same with the Pitocin. The epidural was, oh gosh, that was absolutely terrible. Don't remember much from this. I'm kind of blocking it out right now, to be honest with you guys. Monday I progressed. I think it was 3 centimeters dilated. That was how it was, and I had an epidural, and they were just checking my contractions and making sure that everything was progressing. There was a few times though his heart rate ended up going like up with the contractions and down, I believe. I ended up eventually having to get a monitor placed inside me onto this little boy's head. Yeah, that was the thing. So that ended up happening. I also ended up getting a cath when I got my epidural, which I have a student in my room that has that situation, and I feel for him so much now. I'm like, oh my God, I know what you go through, dude. Like, waiting it out, seeing if I progress. Tuesday morning, I think it was Tuesday morning. It was either Monday afternoon to Tuesday morning, somewhere in between there. I don't remember. They broke my water. That was an experience to try to make me progress. I think I was 4 centimeters dilated at that point, so they were just kind of waiting. I do have to say though, I do appreciate the hospital I was at and the doctors and the nurses that were there, because they really took my wishes into consideration, especially since I was very uncomfortable with people down there that's like not my husband or myself. They were really, really attentive to that and really trying to make sure that I was safe, and so was the baby, but also that I could have the birth that I wanted. They were all great for the most part. I've had a couple nurses that I was like now I'm thinking of them in my head. I'm like, no, I would have rather had the shift without. I would have rather you not been on your shift, but that's fine. I also want to throw this out there this is just from my experience. The epidurals, you're a first time mom, you're like, oh, I'm gonna get the epidural. It'll probably be fine when you are progressing and you are like close to giving birth. Have it on the drip for that long of time, I don't recommend. Yeah, it takes the edge off the pain, but you will still feel everything. You still feel that pressure. At least for me, I still felt all the pressure and everything, and it was awful. Going into Tuesday, they were just still waiting on me to progress. Found out later from my mom, because my mom and my husband were both there, is that she actually talked to the doctors and was very concerned about the baby and about me possibly having a C-section, or to give me the option of a C-section. By the way, I'm hitting his back like he's not just moving on his own. I didn't know that at the time, so when they came in to talk to me about like signing a consent form for a possible C-section that I could possibly have, I freaked the out. I was already freaking out at this point because I had been stuck in this bed with an epidural, like catheter, just trying to progress, like worried about my son. At this point, I wanted to go home. It's like, I'm just done. Can I just poop him out and let's go? Like, I'm done. It'd probably been like late at night Tuesday. The nurse that was there when I gave birth, she was nice, but also I kind of got a weird vibe from her too. So low key, that's one of the nurses I was like, was having me do all these different positions to get me to progress, because I was still like kind of stagnant. I wasn't really progressing. Took my temperature. I had a fever at that point. I had started to get an infection, because when they break your amniotic fluid, there's nothing there for the baby anymore. So he was just hanging out in there and no water. Ended up getting an infection, of course. Having fever. After that, she made me do all these positions to get me to progress, and I started contracting, really contracting, like more so than I was before. And actually, you know, when the women are screaming in the hospital, again, I'm not trying to scare anybody, this is just my experience. You know, when you're watching the movies of the women in the hospital or in TV shows and they're screaming as they're giving birth? Yeah, that was me. I didn't think it was gonna be me, but it was. And I was fully just screaming like pain. And the nurse came in and she's like, oh, you're progressing. I was having intense contractions, and I was like, okay, so this is happening. This is gonna, you know, I'm gonna have him in the next few hours. This is great. I'm really happy about this. I think I ended up passing out for like an hour and didn't even realize, because I remember waking up kind of. My husband and my mom, oh, it's okay. I know, we made it though, honey. I really think I ended up passing out while I was having contractions on my side. I woke up to my husband and my mom being there, and I was just trying to breathe through them and breathe through them. The nurse, she ended up checking me to see how much I was dilated. She's like, I think you're 10 centimeters. So obviously I was really excited, and she was like showing me like how the positioning I was gonna have to be in to push him out. Just let us know when you feel like you have to push, when you feel like you have to poop, basically. Before that even happened, they also had one of the doctors come in and check my cervix, and he was like, you are not progressing at all. Your cervix is actually still 5 centimeters and is swollen. And I was like, what the f are you talking about? I was like, you gotta be kidding me, because I've been dying in pain with these contractions for hours now with the Pitocin. Oh, I want to go back to the Pitocin for a second. I feel like that probably hindered a lot of my birth, now thinking about it, because I was progressing and having the Pitocin drip and everything was fine. It wasn't until Brian's heart rate started doing weird things with my contractions that they had to stop the Pitocin a couple times and then restart it. So I low-key feel like that might have had something to do with it, but also I just feel like maybe my body just was like, nope, we're not doing this anymore. I don't know. And then I had a theory that after the nurse checked me, I just got so like freaked out from them checking me that like my cervix was just like, nope, we're not doing this. I don't really know what the case is. If any of you moms out there have had the similar experience with like your cervix, like just not progressing and being swollen, let me know, because he was right there. His head was there. He was ready to come out. My cervix was just like, absolutely not. After the doctor says all that, I start really freaking out and panicking, because at this point I have to push. I have the feeling I need to push him out right now. I was like, he needs to come out now. I have to push. Like, I was like screaming the nurse's name, like, I have to push. I was like, so-and-so, I have to push. It was awful. Like, my mom was crying. I was panicking. I was like, what do I do? And at that point, everyone who came in was like, we don't really think that there's any other choice at this point. You're gonna have a C-section. I was like, yep, do it. Fine. Go ahead. Mind you, I had been up this entire time for the most part during this labor. So for 2.5 days. And I hadn't eaten in 2.5 days, and I was exhausted. So at this point I was like, just get him out. Like, let's just get the ball rolling, like roll me in. That was horrifying in itself, because also fun fact about me, I never had any surgery of any type before in my life. Quite traumatic to go in there, and the lights were so bright I couldn't keep my eyes open. It was freezing. I was like shaking the whole time. So they put some like warm bubble balloon thing on me, which I appreciate, because I was just like I literally could not talk. It was like as soon as I got in there, I was just asking for my husband the whole time, like, where's my husband? Where's my husband? Where's my husband? And he's in there, and he I don't really want to say like too much about, you know, how he was feeling, but clearly he was very, very upset. That's all I'm gonna say. During this whole process, he does have something on me now that he was the first one that got to hold Brian, so I'm jealous of that. After the C-section, they, you know, rolled me into another room for a couple hours with him, and I think I was just such in shock at this point. Like, I had him in my arms, and the nurses were like, do you want to do your skin to skin? And I was like, we'll do it later or whatever, because I was so exhausted at this point, and so was my husband, that we were just like, okay, let's just have him. And then he was crying, and we're like, it's okay. Like, at that point, it's like, they gave you that baby, that's it. Like, in that moment, it literally felt like, here's your kid, like, good luck for like the next like 2 hours that I had to stay in that room. Again, everything that I had kind of wanted in my birth did not happen. I wanted my husband to cut his cord, us to do skin to skin. I wanted delayed cord clamping as well. The natural birth that I wanted, it just did not happen. Yes, everything kind of happens for a reason, which I'm starting to realize, you know, and as I've said with so many other things in my life, but literally like everything happens for a reason. Finding out later as well from the doctors that I have a very narrow birth canal. I'm sorry if that's like TMI. And my uterus is tilted, just like my mom's is. So I'm wondering if that all also was playing a part. So next time I do choose to have a child, which as of right now, especially after I had him and then came home and have been dealing with everything we've been dealing with, I'm like, I don't know right now. Like, let's just not even go down that road. Let's just chill for a little bit. After I had him, you know, they wheel us into the recovery and everything and ask me, like, are you doing formula? Are you like breastfeeding? And I was like, well, I'm doing formula until my milk comes in, then I'm going to pump. That was also one of my original plans. Spoiler alert, ladies, did not happen. It happened for a little bit. He did have my breast milk for probably like a week and a half-ish. Started having a lot of issues with him, and again, we're gonna get into it. We were in the hospital literally for almost an entire week, from Sunday to that Friday, and he was born on July 3rd at 12:13 a.m. the day before he's one of his grandmas. He is a little cancer baby, and he is so adorable and sweet, and we love him so much. We've just had a very rough ride this month with not only postpartum for me and dealing with postpartum depression, anxiety, as I've said, but also my son has a lot of gas issues. I think that's really just common with a lot of babies. However, that has been very stressful on top of everything else that I'm personally going through. I can't imagine my husband, like, just end this whole life change of, we have a baby now. I hate him. He twitches all the time, which freaks me out. Does anyone else's babies do this? Like, he just twitches in his sleep all the time. Sometimes he like is like his eyes in the back of his head, and I swear he's having a seizure, but he's fine. Mostly his hand, he always goes like this. Not a doctor, just curious. As of this past week, we have finally got a diagnosis that he does have acid reflux, which is what I was suspecting of this entire time. So back to him coming home from the hospital, the big change. My husband and I are stressed out. We're not sleeping. We're just trying to figure out how to be parents. He's sleeping all the time. I'm looking on social media constantly on like TikTok and like seeing newborn day in the lives and thinking I'm not doing enough for my child. Mom guilt, feeling like I don't want to cry, feeling like a terrible mom, you know, just fun things. It's all fun, which is not the case because I'm not a terrible mom. I am an adjusting mom. I'm a mom making a difference, and everything is going to be fine. First few days of his life, he was on formula, and then once my milk came in, I started pumping and giving him my milk. First like week and a half-ish, he was on my breast milk, but he was having some kind of issue, and we were like, maybe he has a milk allergy, maybe something's going on. My mom had suggested, oh, maybe you should try soy formula because when you were a baby, you had a milk allergy, and soy was the only thing that worked for you, and that's all I had your sister on was soy. So we started him on a soy formula. He ended up having a doctor's appointment, I believe. I think we ended up bringing him in because we were concerned that he may have had a milk allergy. We were just trying out the soy formula for a few days, and then it reverted back to him being fussy and crabby, etc. So we ended up going back to the doctor because it was so bad that he was not sleeping. We weren't sleeping. It was not good. He is on Alimentum formula, which I've heard a lot of mixed things about, but mostly that it's very good and it's hypoallergenic, and he's been doing pretty well on this formula so far, which is great. But we also did have to bring him into the doctor again because he was doing the same thing where he was fussy, he wasn't sleeping, etc. And then we were just kind of waiting him out, and ended up having to call the doctor again and just say, hey, this is everything that's happening with him food wise, you know, spitting up, fussiness, etc. And come to find out, he has acid reflux. And not to mention, we could not get his medication for like a whole extra day. So that night, oh man, we've had a few nights where I have resulted to just sitting up in bed and holding him. I mean, it is what it is. Do what you got to do. If that makes me a bad mother, then you. Like, I don't care. I want to make sure that my baby is okay and comfortable. And we are on medication for his acid reflux. He has been mostly doing contact naps with me or my husband during the day. He was sleeping in his crib he sleeps in his crib. We originally had a pack and play for him. We figured that it just wasn't very comfortable for him. He wasn't really sleeping in it, so we ended up just putting it away, may actually return it. and just using his crib, because why not? He already, you know, it's already here, it's already built. He was doing very well, like sleeping in it during the day and sleeping in it at night, and then just the last few days again, just having a hard time sleeping in his bed during the day. We have kind of resulted to contact naps for the most part, because if anything, he will sleep maybe 45 minutes to an hour in his crib during the day, which is good because it means that he's been sleeping a little bit better at night. He needs his nap time, and his parents, we all need some time too, you know, like we all need our own little time to ourselves. Going back to my postpartum is something that I have been trying to do, is have some time to myself during the day. However, it is spent with Bubba's on me, which is fine at this point. I don't really care. We're just basically playing it by ear around here. He's gained weight pretty quickly as well. He is now 8 pounds. He was 6 pounds 10 ounces when he came out. He's now, as of last Saturday, is 8 pounds. Oh, strong boy. He has a stork bite in the back of his neck, just like me and my mom, which is funny. So definitely from his great grandma. Very much aware now, definitely looking around a lot more than he was a few weeks ago, grasping our hands, looking at us. He does smile in his sleep, but they say that that's like gas. So I don't care. He's smiling. Doing well. I just wish that he was a little bit not as fussy. I wish, not even that. I just wish that we weren't going through the things that we've been going through, like on top of everything else with postpartum. And not even just for myself, but also for my husband and for my mom, since she has actually been coming over to help us a lot during the nights, coming over like in the evenings just to like be with us. She's been very helpful, and I really do appreciate it. When I say I've been struggling, you guys, I have been struggling. And I don't think that makes me a bad mom, because apparently everything I'm going through is normal, and a lot of women have gone through it as well. I just didn't picture my experience to be so like crazy. Like I was expecting a lot more, and I have already felt bad enough about everything. Oh my God, I'm crying really bad now. I love him so much. Like I now can't imagine life without him. It makes things a lot more difficult, obviously. Like I can't just go and do what I want so easily without, you know, someone watching him or him being with me, or just something that, again, as I've mentioned already, a big person of having time to myself. So that has been really hard to get used to. You know, just this whole adjustment period of being parents has really just taken its toll. This whole experience has just been really, really crazy. I wish it wasn't as crazy. I wish it was a little more like happy and loving. I also wish that my doctor was there during my birth, because she directly was not, but everyone else that worked with her was there. And there's a little update on me after I just cried. First time I have actually blown out my hair in a very long time. I did this yesterday. I took a shower and washed my hair and blow dried it, because my hair has just been crazy. That's not part of the update though. I have been trying to do something for myself at least once a day to stay sane. Trying to get out of the house every couple days. It's been a little hard since it's been really hot here with heat advisories that we have currently right now, which is aggravating. I don't know if the heat is playing a part with when he gets fussy, because we did go out this morning for an hour and went to grocery store and got things and came home and gave him his bottle, and he was like fussy and crazy, which he also was the previous Friday when I went to my work to visit work, and I came home and he was just inconsolable mess. And I was like, oh my God, what the hell happened? Because we were so good. I don't know. Let me know, mamas, in the comments if you think the heat and humidity does that, because we weren't even out that long, and we went out early in the morning and I thought it was fine, and apparently it was not fine. As far as my postpartum goes, I do have a therapist now that I've been seeing for a couple weeks now, and I am also shockingly on medication, which is something that I've sworn off in the past. I didn't want that to be me. I didn't want it to happen. But when I tell you guys that the struggle without it has been crazy. I have been literally crying all the time. The same, again, mom guilt, feeling like a bad mom, missing my old life has still, like, that has really been hitting hard. Because I always thought, you know, once I had him, like, I'll just bring him with me and I'll do whatever I can, you know, whatever. But he's just going to be, you know, my little best friend with me everywhere. And no, that's not the case right now. I really wanted to make myself right and get myself together to be a good mom to him, because that's not fair. Postpartum rage, I've had that a few times. Not really, really bad, but just to the point where I needed to walk away for a minute, that sort of thing. Which again is also normal. So ladies out there, it's normal. Currently chilling, living our life. We do things when we can, and that's really all it's been for my husband and I. We have just been mostly stuck in this house. I've tried to just get out a little bit. We've tried to get out a bit. with him as well. I would love to take him on walks, which is something I've wanted to do, but again, it's been so freaking hot having a baby in July, so that hasn't been quite up to, you know, standard. I'm really excited to watch him grow, and it's amazing to see how much he's grown already in a month. He is just so big now, and my god, like his face is totally changed from when I had him. Like literally the newborn pictures you guys seen on my Instagram, like his face is so much smaller. He is so strong. He can lift his neck by himself. He can sleep on his side. Controversial, but my baby sleeps on his side a lot of the time, including right now. So love sleeping on his stomach, but that's only when he's on me or my husband or my mom or somebody. He's not alone when that happens. Currently has a lot of baby acne. I hope that goes away. His eye won't stop getting crusty. I don't know what to do about it. I've tried to get rid of see if his ducts are blocked. I've already done that a million times. Since he's been born, his eye has been crusty. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that, but mamas in the comments, help a girl out. He definitely has my nose, my lips, and my ears, and he definitely has, oh yeah, you do, Bubba. He has his dad's head and his eyes, and I think he's gonna have brown eyes, and he has his feet too, which is crazy to see his little feet, his little baby feet. They look just like David's. It's crazy. It's just insane. The last thing I wanted to go into, which you guys are probably like, formula, what? Like you said you were gonna pump. Like I totally didn't even go there. I'm so sorry. So what ended up happening with pumping is that I was doing it consistently. I was getting breast milk, and then it occurred to me too, when he was starting to have all his gas issues, that my breast milk was also becoming an issue for him, because apparently, ladies, I did not know this, which I did, but I didn't. Like, you know, you know it, but you don't really think about it, sort of thing. Giving him gas due to a lot of things I was eating. And then I was like, you know what? There it is right there. I just didn't want to pump anymore, but also my mental was kind of taking a toll. I would wake up with him at night and feed him and, you know, change him and feed him and then get him back to sleep. Sometimes I would have to stay up a little bit longer to pump, and I just wouldn't sleep as much. You get what I mean? So I just was kind of over it. And of course the fears of having mastitis and clogged ducts, and I just didn't want to deal with it. And I know that might sound selfish, because there's a lot of, you know, pro like breast milk mamas out there. Fed is best. And as long as he's fed and happy and I'm happy, I think that's all that matters. And also, again, my mental health has been very, very shaky this month. It has not been this crazy since I think my early 20s, and you guys were here for that. That was a ride. That's kind of the vibe that's happening right now. So I just didn't want to poke the bear any more than I already was with everything going on. So we just decided to stop pumping. It's unfortunate because, you know, in hindsight, you know, all these things that I said previously before having Brian, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And it just didn't work out that way. And that's okay too. Same with, you know, my birth and everything. Like I didn't get the birth I always dreamed of, which is fine. Like you can have all these standards in your head and stuff, but when it actually happens, it's a totally different experience. I mean, you can still have that experience and do everything for that. I don't know, it just wasn't in the cards for me. I also kind of feel like at times I'm kind of a lazy mom in some ways. Like I'm just trying to cut corners in some situations, and sometimes I look back on pumping and everything else so far. I'm like, well, could I have just toughed it out and did it? Could I have just like done it and been the best mom and done all that? But at the end of the day, I can't dwell on that, and I can't keep harping on it in my head, because it will drive me insane. And that's literally how it's been. So right now I've only been on my medication for a few days, and so far so good. I'm just having a lot more anxiety with a lot of things, especially when he cries and I'm not there, or I have to like go do something and leave him with my husband or my mom, and I'm like, oh god, okay. As far as other updates on me, my C-section scar has been healing great. I've had some like pain with it, just like on and off. I was doing a lot in the beginning. If you guys saw my Instagram post, taking him out like a week postpartum and me a week postpartum, and I was just like, this is fine, because we had to leave the house. We had to get things. Like, shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done a lot of things and straining myself. But as I said in my TikTok postpartum updates, what women go through is asinine to have children. Like, how do you expect a woman to give birth to a child, whether it's, you know, vaginally or C-section, and then tell them you have to rest and recover, but you also have to take care of this child who's a brand new, you know, child in the world that knows nothing, get to know them get to know you, plus the hormonal changes, plus the sleep deprivation. Like, how do you expect a woman to do all of this? Not to mention, again, do you have help? Do you have a partner? Do you have family? Do you have friends? Do you not have anyone at all? Are you on your own? You know, like there's just so many like aspects going into this, which is why I will say this again, all single moms out there, I commend you, including my own mom, because she basically was a single mom for a lot of my life and my sister's life. And I cannot imagine, like I really can't, or having a partner that's unsupportive or family that wants nothing to do with you, or I cannot imagine. So moms, I commend you. And it also makes me feel really bad, especially with some of my mom friends, that I never was like more like attentive to them, being like, are you okay? Do you need a break? Do you need something? Like, do you want me to help you with your, you know, especially with one of my best friends, like, do you want me to like watch your baby for a little bit? Like something. I wish I would have been more attentive to that at the times. So that also like kind of like stings now. I'm like, wow, I get it now. I fully get it. Oh, also this is kind of personal, but I kind of wanted to share it anyways. I really thought after I had Brian that I was gonna have a really hard time losing baby weight. You guys, your girl is like skinny. Like I am small. It's right now. I mean, I can definitely see it in my face. Besides like my whole body changes, like I have stretch marks on my stomach now, I have a scar, whatever, like it's fine. My skin definitely feels a lot softer all around my body, not just my belly. Like it just feels a lot softer, which is crazy. I kind of can't wait to get cleared and do some exercises to like get some stuff back together, but it is what it is. I'm small. And I don't know if I can attribute that just because I had a C-section and I was recovering, or maybe because I was eating really well the last couple months of my pregnancy. I don't know. Or in general, I was just kind of eating as decently as I could while I was pregnant, and not just ate a whole bunch of crap, especially once I got gestational diabetes. That was the other thing. After he came out, they had to check our blood sugar for like a few days and we were both fine. So that's that. Right now, I'm not really eating that much. I don't really have an appetite, but then again, I don't know if it's the postpartum D or if it's just me, because you know, I have a whole life to worry about right now. I just don't really have like much of an interest in food. I weigh a little less than I did before I had Brian, before I got pregnant with him, which is crazy. So I guess it's like, have a baby, you'll lose weight. No, don't do that. I'm all over the place in this video. Again, I apologize. Like I said, it's been a ride. This boy has been cray with all his things. When he's not crying, he is very curious and very adorable and is just the sweetest little love. I could never imagine my life without him. Like, holy crap. I'm starting to feel that feeling that a lot of moms do when you have your baby, because I will be one to admit, when he came out, I had the feeling. Not really, because I was just such in shock from everything. And the last few weeks, I just keep repeating myself. I just really can't imagine my life without him, and I can't wait to watch him grow up and hit all his milestones and have hair. He is like half bald, half not. He had a whole bunch of hair on his head, and I think it's all like falling out, so he's like bald like mommy was when she was born. He really is our angel baby from my grandma. If you don't know that story, you need to go watch my pregnancy announcement video, because I say the whole story in there of how I knew that my grandma was bringing this baby to me, and how I got pregnant with him literally a month after she passed away. It was like an exchanging of souls or something. It was just really weird. I hope you guys enjoy this video. If there's anything I forgot to mention, I'll just put down here in the captions. Everything is going to be a little all over the place for a while. I don't know about consistency. Probably not till he's older, halfway through the newborn trenches. So hopefully after that, we're good to go. I'm trying to enjoy this as much as possible, even though sometimes I'm just like, why are you crying? And you won't stop crying, and I did everything for you, and why won't you stop? And oh god, you know, that sort of. Oh, I can't wait to do fall things with him this year, and Christmas. Oh my gosh. As I've said in other videos too, the last few years, like holidays and stuff, like they've been fun, and doing fall things has been fun, like with my mom and my husband and my friends and stuff like that. But it's just, you know, especially Christmas, it just feels a little bit empty. Like there just always felt like there was something missing, and I think he was what we were missing. So it's gonna be so much fun. Yeah, it's gonna be so much fun. I also feel like since he's been having so many gas issues and reflux issues, that if he sleeps during the day, I kind of don't really disturb him that much the last few days. As soon as he starts getting accustomed to a new formula or whatever, because he's been up and screaming and upset, and you get it. I thought I was gonna have an easy baby, guys. I really did. I was like, oh, he'll be chill just like David. He'll sleep just like, he sleeps like his dad, not chill. He's a lot like mom. I love you guys so much. Hope you have an awesome day. Subscribe if you want to see more of me. Like this video if you enjoyed. Turn on bell post notification when I post a new video. I'm gonna try and also do a vlog as well. I started vlogging today. Let me know what other videos you guys want to see from me. I think I want to do just like, I I don't know, vlogs for now. Currently working on another empties. Again, everything that I thought mattered before having him does not matter. Like the makeup, like I still love my makeup, I still love all my beauty stuff and whatever, but like all of that does not matter anymore, which is crazy to say. I actually want to just get rid of some of my stash anyways, because it's excessive and it's annoying, and clothes, and like I have a whole bunch of like clothes that need to go, and like, I'm looking at this right now with all like my KKW perfumes and like extra makeup. I'm like, none of this matters. And all these little tiny perfumes on the top here that I've had, Ariana Grande, Nicki Minaj, doesn't matter. I think that's been another big thing for me. It's like everything I thought that mattered does not matter. Clearly, you guys can see I'm not really wearing any makeup besides brow gel, sunscreen, and bronzing drops. And lip oil. Well, I'm not wearing lip oil, but you get it. I love you guys. Thank you for sticking with me through everything. Oh my God, I feel like I'm coming full circle. I'm being that little girl in my bedroom that thinking I was never gonna do anything. Was held back by a lot of my depression and my anxiety, and I was so scared to progress in life, and you guys have literally watched me move out, and you guys have literally watched me like finally job and career and change careers, get married, move out, get pregnant, now have a baby. But it still stands. I'm probably not going to be making my channel a family channel. We are not doing that. I will try to make his social media presence very scarce, mostly for my family and stuff. My little stinky potato. Potato! Potato. I love you guys. Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you for hanging out with us. Oh. 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 Little hands.